Hello and welcome to the Farmer's Kitchen. Hello, Mrs. Farmer.
Mr. Farmer, how are you?
We're cooking tonight. You know why?
Because we're starving. I'm starving.
Because we're hungry.
That's right.
And this is a show when we cook, we're actually cooking our dinner. It's not a fake set. This is our kitchen and we're starving. And a lot of times we cook, it's late at night because we have farming issues.
That's right.
And we're out and about and we like to be in the woods and on the water, which means we hunt and fish. And we like to bring in fish, deer, even some other critters, rabbits. We get some wild game going on. Tonight, we caught some stripers. Now, not too long ago, we talked about the fact that if you had to order a striper from a restaurant, if you went out and you said, okay, I want some striper tonight, you didn't catch it yourself, but you went to a fish market, say in Washington State. Remember when we were in Seattle and they were throwing stripers out there? It's $219.
That's unbelievable.
$219 for an 11-pound fish.
Yeah.
So, a little piece like this, an 8-ounce piece with the skin on, you can buy for about $24 to $25.
Wow.
Striper to me is wonderful, whether it's on the grill, whether it's in the oven or fried.
Right.
But one way that I really like to do my fish is to pan sear it.
Delicious.
Just with a little bit of flour, salt, and pepper. Then what you do after that, you can go a lot of different ways, but tonight I'm gonna make a little balsamic reduction, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Yum.
But as we're cooking a meal, we want to get everything together time-wise. You're gonna start with our friend Lois's yeast roll recipe.
The sweet rolls, they are so good.
And then we're gonna take them like Mom used to do. She used to take 3 little balls and put them in the muffin pan, and then they would grow.
They're so, you know what, you notice I'm making this almost every week?
Yes.
I know this one by heart because it's such a great recipe.
And it's really good.
Oh, it's really good.
And they're good for you.
Yes, and
there's
it's simple.
no calories.
It's simple. It's really simple too.
All right, how do you do it?
All right, we're gonna start off, and it's actually really simple. I got this all memorized. I am going to take a 1/3 cup of sugar.
All right.
Put this in the bowl, and that might sound weird to start. And I'm gonna do a whole packet of yeast.
All right.
And I need a 1 1/4 cup of warm water. So what I think is unique about this is she has the sugar in there with the yeast. So we're gonna start with that.
Makes it work.
Yes. Now I need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I know you have salt over there.
$1?
$1, wow. That's expensive.
I need the cash before you put it in there.
Alrighty.
Let me dump it?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
And now I have a 1/3 cup of oil. That's just vegetable oil. And that's pretty much it for the wet. And in her recipe, she says use 3 cups of flour and then a little extra just to make sure it doughs up good. So I have about 3 1/2 cups.
Okay.
So usually I just add a little bit in here, mix it as I go. All right, one thing nice about this recipe is you can let it rise. After it rises, put it in the fridge and let it sit until you need it. So
I like that.
Yeah.
So you got something to do
Right.
around the farm, or you want to go shopping like
Yes.
Nikki likes
that's
to
right.
do.
And that way, for me, if we're having people for dinner, I just make it in the morning and set it aside till we need it.
Now, how much do you need it?
Just a little bit, just to get a ball, she said. So not a whole lot. And that's why I get a little extra flour. And if you think you need more flour, you can add it till you get it to where you want it. And I leave it a little bit sticky. And this looks pretty good. And usually I let it sit on the counter for a couple hours and rise. And then after it's gotten to where I want it, I just put it in the fridge till we need it. We're gonna let
I'm digging it.
I know it.
That's so good. Something about when you're cooking yeast bread in the oven.
Yeah, so
It's
good.
really, really good.
All right, now that we have this, we're gonna go ahead and let it rise on the counter a couple hours. Then after that, we can throw it in the fridge, and then we can use it whenever we want.
Good to go.
Yes.
I like it. So we're gonna have everything come together at once. How long does it take your yeast rolls to cook?
They only cook 15 minutes, but what I've done, I actually let this rise on the counter for probably 2 hours, and it's been in the fridge. So see how it is right now? And it's cool. So
It's doughy.
it's doughy, but you can sit in the fridge, and I'm gonna do what you said your mom used to do.
This is what she did.
Yes.
And I loved it because you could split them in 3s, and it makes the top grow out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
And we're gonna let these sit behind us and grow until they look good, and we're gonna actually put some butter on them too. So you start to.
Now, what temperature and for how long?
We're gonna put these at 425, and I'm gonna give it 15-20 minutes. We're gonna kind of watch them.
It happens pretty quick.
Yeah, to see when they're brown, and I'm gonna, like I said, put butter on them.
Now, Nikki, while you're doing that, man, we're coming together fairly
we are.
quickly here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil out in this
Okay.
pan. This is cast iron.
You love that.
This
don't
is
you?
enamel cast iron, and probably one of my favorite dishes. I really, really like it. It's so versatile. Use this all the time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start getting ready here.
Okay.
I've got my crab boiling over here. Now I've just got a small amount of crab. That's to finish things up with. So here's the process on the fish. I'm gonna get my oil hot, but not terribly hot, because I wanna be able to just basically get that in there, get it nice and brown on each side. And you can watch, this fish is kind of translucent. You can watch as it cooks up through the middle of the fish.
Okay.
You don't want to overcook striper or grouper or snapper or anything like that. Now these are, to me, they're in Kentucky waters, some of the best fish in the world for cooking. You cut that little bit of red meat out and they're just absolutely wonderful. We did a show with Chad Miles and the Kentucky film crew just a couple days ago, and we've got lots of fish.
Yes, you did.
And when we got lots of fish, we're going to eat lots of fish. Now Chad's coming over in the next couple days. He's the one who took over when I left about 5 years ago, and I'm going to introduce him to a new way to eat striper that I think he's going to like.
Because he's got a lot of striper too to eat.
He's got a lot of striper too. And I tell you, when you get one of these guys on, oh my goodness, when you get a 8, 12, 15-pound striper, and even bigger, they catch them up to 30, 40 pounds.
They're hard to reel in.
They're hard to reel, but oh, so much fun.
Yes.
Now, what temperature and for how long?
We're going to put these at 425, and I'm going to give it 15, 20 minutes. We're going to kind of watch them.
It happens pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now, these aren't huge pieces here. These are some of the smaller fish we caught. We're going to take our fish, just put a little bit of olive oil on, then we're going to put them in flour, salt, and pepper, very lightly. Then we're going to take them and put them in the pan. Again, you do not want to overcook them. You don't want your oil to get really, really hot. You notice as you go along, you'll find out that some of the things you've been told over the years might not work the best for you, and you have to make your own plan as you go along. I've noticed when I'm deep frying things in my cast iron dish, I don't get that oil to 350. A lot of times if you get it to 350, it so easily goes on up from there and you ruin it rather quickly. So I have found that in the 325 to 340 range, it does real well.
Yeah.
And you don't have that outside exterior getting done really quick and then the inside not being done. As you're cooking, you can see how it's getting light around the edge there, Nikki. You can notice that all around the whole fish. And if you look from the side, it comes up from the bottom.
Right.
Again, you don't want to overcook this fish. The worst thing you can do is overcook this fish. Now you know you're getting done when you get that good sizzle going.
Starting to smell good.
And you'll check the bottom, make sure it's nice and brown. Turn it over. Now you can see I just turned this over. Can you see the color right there? Look at the color difference between the middle right there. We know we're getting done on this side. You can almost watch it as it's cooking, raise up to the middle. And sometimes, because striper has a little bit of a red color when it's cooking and it turns to solid white, you can let just a little bit of that pink stay before you put it in the oven.
Yeah.
And just finishing it in the oven for the last 3 or 4 minutes because
Makes
it's
it
absolutely
wonderful.
make it perfect. And Mrs. Farmer, you know what? It's probably time to start our beans.
Alrighty.
This is a stringless bean. They have the best taste.
They do.
Now, a lot of people call these dragon tongue.
I've never seen one like that.
There's so many variations. Those are beautiful.
From Matt?
They taste absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
This is from our CSA. They're absolutely wonderful. Some of the best beans I've ever had. We're going to do a little twist on that tonight. That's very good. We have in the last little bit been doing kind of what everybody else has been doing, and we've been doing a long time. We take our vegetables, put them in some olive oil, and just roast them in the oven. A little twist on that tonight. We're going to do that first, but then finish them with some cheese.
Yeah, really good, really good.
These are some of the best beans I've ever had.
They were really good, yes.
Well, I tell you what, it's such fun to catch one of these fish. Now, something about striper that you might find interesting, stripers are kind of like salmon and other fish. They travel back and forth from freshwater to saltwater to spawn. We decided way back to send a group down there to actually catch fish. South Carolina cooperated with the Department of Fish and Wildlife to let some of the folks, including the former host of Kentucky Field, Hope Carlton, to go down there and catch the fish on rod and reel, transport them back to Kentucky. Then we started breeding them in the fish hatcheries, and next thing you know, we've got stripers in Kentucky. Woo! Now look what we got. That's the end product.
Looks good.
Let's pop that in the oven for just a few minutes.
He was born on a West Texas highway, somewhere near Abilene. His daddy went to see the great fortune.
This is a new way for green beans. I really, really like these. And I think stringless beans would be better. They don't have to be dragon tongue. They can be just regular stringless green beans.
Right. And I'm just cutting the ends off of these. Get those little pieces off. I'm gonna cut them in half too. What do you think? Make them a little more bite-sized?
So she's just cutting these into nice bite-sized beans. We're gonna put those in the oven at 375 and just kind of watch them until they start getting nice and a little brown around the edges.
Crunchy.
And you can turn it up a little bit more if you wanted. I wouldn't go above 400. And then watch those 15 minutes or so till you get them about like you want them. Then when they get nice and brown around the edges, you know they're done. Put some cheese on and finish with that chease and let them
Parmesan,
get nice and brown.
yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And we're gonna use parchment paper. That helps it from making your pan messy and from sticking to the pan.
A little olive oil. A little
Stir 'em
tossy. While you're doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little seasoned
Do a
salt
little
in there.
more too.
And if you want to make your own seasoned salt, I like something we talked about earlier. And I just kind of use a little onion powder, a little garlic, a little thyme, of course salt and pepper, and a little celery seed.
I
What do
like
you
it.
think?
I like a nice
Appropriate
salty
seasoning?
taste. I love it.
All right.
All right, I think we're good.
We just spread those out evenly. All right, is that ready to go
I think
in?
they're ready, and I kind of have them separated a little bit.
Now we're gonna throw this in at 375
Okay.
and keep a close eye on it. When you work with crab legs, so many people use crackers and so on and so forth. When you're coming out with this piece right here, watch what happens. See those little tendons?
Just pull that out.
Ligaments that come out. What that does, when you do that, that pulls that meat down. Then you further seed it like that right there. Then you come back and you crack it right in the middle. Now this is the one-handed method. And typically, look at that.
You're a professional.
That's a whole piece.
Yes.
I've had lots of practice. So
Yes, you
again, just pop this piece out here. And there's a little bit of meat in those upper pieces too.
Yeah.
Bring this out, pop that down, seat that down in there, crack it right in the middle. And many times that will come out in one
Wow.
piece. That was with one hand.
When we're at a restaurant, you out eat me usually.
I can eat
You can eat
crab
fast.
legs. So we're gonna top our fish with some crab meat.
All right.
And our reduction shall begin. Okay, now, you notice there's still flour and there's still oil in there.
The good
Does
stuff.
the flour bother me? No, because it will thicken our whole reduction in a little bit. I'm gonna come back with some shallots. There's one little bitty shallot. Nikki just pulled the rolls out. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna
would
butter
you
them
look
up.
at
Is that all right?
All right, now I'm gonna come back with some butter. I'm gonna start with a half a stick. Now it doesn't matter if that butter gets a little bit brown, because that will just enhance the
good.
flavor of the reduction. Now this is a rich sauce, and it's beautiful. If you can find somewhere around you really good flavored balsamic vinegar, and I have a citrus balsamic vinegar here,
So delicious.
and you can use regular balsamic vinegar and add citrus juice, but this is a citrus flavored that I have. We're gonna come back, and this is about 3 tablespoons, a little over 3 tablespoons
Wow. Yummy.
of our balsamic vinegar. Look at how that,
That looks so
look
good.
how that's coming
Ooh.
across. Ooh, it's perfect, it's beautiful. Then we're gonna come back. Mrs. Farm, I'll have you scoop that out. This is about a tablespoon of Dijon and about that much honey. So that, as you can see, rather quickly, almost perfect. Doesn't take long. You see those magic bubbles, Miss
Yeah,
Farmer?
that looks so good.
That means you got it at the right temperature. It's reducing. Doesn't take long. That's almost perfect. Now I'm going to turn this off rather quickly. She's
Okay.
going to put the cheese on the beans, and we're going to plate this stuff. All right, Ms. Farmer, a little bit of lemon.
Yes.
Phew, that was intense there coming together. That reduction. You got to watch your reduction.
You do good at that.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Now look at this fish. Now look, now it's got the reduction on it. But look how white and flaky that is and moist because we didn't overcook it.
That is so good. Wow. That's delicious. That's really good. I like your crab on top too. Fresh crab.
The vinegar with the little tart, and you got the salt or balsamic
yeah.
vinegar.
The sweet.
Oh, with the honey and the mustard, it's a beautiful combination for this. And the green beans are just absolutely fantastic.
I need to try one of those.
Aren't they good? Look at that cheese where it turned brown.
Crunchy with the cheese. Wow.
And of course, Lois's roll. Let's split
Those
that
are
one.
always so good. Look at them. Breaks apart in 3 little pieces. See how perfect that is?
That's the way Mom
These
did.
are,
Oh, remember when we'd get sorghum and butter and put on a roll like this?
those are so good.
Oh.
Wow. I might have more.
We're going to kill this plate in a minute. But you know what? A recipe we did not that long ago. Seems like about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was up at the cabin. It's the time of year for a pumpkin roll.
My favorite. Oh,
Love it. Now we were going to redo it, but hey, let's go back in the vault,
that's right.
see what we can find. Desserts
I love
are
desserts.
in your corner.
All right, this recipe looked really good to me because I like cream cheese and it had cream cheese. So what we're gonna make first is, this is you call it a roulade, is that what you called it? So it's rolled.
That's that kind of rolled pastry. And that can
Okay.
be with meat. There's actually a Wellington roulade you can do because we're not rolling
Yeah.
the meat itself.
Well, this is gonna be the middle. We're gonna make a pumpkin bread on the bottom, but this is gonna be our cream that's in the middle.
This is a roll. It's a tasty, tasty
Oh,
thing.
I could eat just this. So what I've done is let this cream cheese get room temperature, a whole package.
All right.
Do that. And then same with the butter. I have 6 tablespoons of butter.
All right.
All right. Now we're gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla.
I remember as a kid thinking, smelling that, thinking, boy, that smells so good. I'm going to take me a little swig of that.
It's not good, is it? All right, and now our powdered sugar. And this, I know you don't like messes. I'm gonna try to be
I'll
careful.
stand back and black swan.
You wanna pour it in for me slowly? That way we'll make a mess work together.
Say when you want it.
Go ahead. Doesn't that look good?
It does look good.
Ta-da! Wanna try it? You got to.
No calories in that.
We'll set that aside for later. That's gonna go inside after we make our pumpkin. So
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna throw that in the fridge for us. Now is our pumpkin mixture.
Okay, how much of that?
This is 2/3 of pumpkin.
And that's just canned
Canned,
100% pumpkin?
that's right.
Check your labels if you're buying it now. Some of that stuff is not really pumpkin.
Yeah. 2 eggs. We're actually gonna use 3, but we're gonna save the last for the end here.
All right.
So I'm just gonna mix this up.
And our hen is still broody.
Yes, she is. Very simple. And now we need 3/4 of a cup of, and this is a bread flour that we used before.
All right.
So put 3 of those in. And now we need actually about a teaspoon of soda and 1 cup of sugar. Some people add cinnamon, allspice, whatever you want to add. Mix that up a little. Let's add our last egg. So we have 3 eggs altogether.
We had
That's
to
it for
fight
that.
for those eggs.
I know we do. All right. Now something we're gonna do here, we're actually gonna cook this on a cookie sheet. This is a smaller cookie sheet, you notice? And something I like to use is wax paper. And the reason I do is that way it'll come off easier because we're gonna have to roll this later.
You know how long it took me to get that wax on there?
You did this?
Yeah.
All right, and
And
how?
then I had to put it on that roll.
I bet. I like to do this and measure, see how we kind of make a little line here, and I'm gonna cut it with my wonderful scissors that, I love these scissors Tracy got us. These are for everything. When I used to do wedding cakes, I'd always put wax underneath too because that way the cake comes out and doesn't, I don't want it sticking. Now we got that perfect. All right, now this, I'm gonna pour this in
Should I
here.
be preheating the oven to any particular temperature?
Yes, we need the oven at 350 for 25 minutes.
And so you're just making it small and thin.
Yeah.
So I suppose later on you'll put the cream cheese on top and roll it
So we
out.
can roll it, and that wax paper is gonna help it come out easier for us, so it'll just, nothing's gonna stick.
Now we've had some of these and you pulled them out in the freezer, so.
They're pretty yummy. It can last a couple,
So you leave it in the freezer?
yes, and it says that they can stay in there a couple months from what I understand.
So let's make 800 of these.
Let's do it, and just, you can eat them all day. Let's stick it in the oven for 25 minutes.
All right, I'll help you with that.
That looks perfect.
And it smells quite beautiful.
Yes. And let's let that cool for a little bit, and then we're gonna flip it out on something else so we can start rolling it. And I'm gonna put another sheet on here because we're gonna dump this off, and we don't want it sticking to that pan either.
but it looks like that came out pretty good.
See,
Mrs.
the wax
Farmer.
paper makes it wonderful. See how it
Yeah.
keeps it?
Very nice.
Nice piece of pumpkin.
Oh yeah.
See where it's going here?
This looks like something you would buy in the store when it's done. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, and it tastes, man, the butter
And
and
it's
the
very
cream
easy.
cheese. Just thank goodness there's only 2 calories per slice.
Right. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect because now we're just gonna roll. All right, you ready? Pull the wax as we go. Let's pull this one back up like that. All right, and I'm gonna tuck it like this because we're gonna put that in the freezer.
That's it.
That's it. And then later
you
on,
made that look pretty dang easy.
you gotta just be careful with the wax paper. When we freeze that, and then we're gonna have perfect little slices.
Look at this.
Isn't it pretty? Oh, wow. Moist and delicious.
That's a beautiful thing.
I love that. Where'd yours go? Okay.
Now, if that doesn't scream fall, I don't know what does.
It's delicious.
And that's very nice.
A piece of meat.
It was intense.
Yes, but it was delicious.
It was delicious.
It's always intense.
You got to have everything coming together at the right time. That gets difficult sometimes.
Yes, it does.
But we pulled it off.
Yes, we did.
Mrs. Farmer, and if you'd like to know how to pull it off and you want to look up some recipes, where would you go?
I go to timfarmerscountryKitchen.com.
We have a gazillion recipes
Yes, we
on
do.
there. How-tos, all kinds of fun
yeah.
stuff. And we'd also like to see you on our Facebook page. Now, that's extremely difficult.
Yes, it is.
How many steps are there to get on our Facebook
There's
page?
one big step. You hit like.
Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Facebook page. We want to see you there, talk about life and cooking and fun things with you. Ms. Farmer, that wraps up a half hour, but we still have a plate of food to devour.
And I'm starving.
And we are starving. But it's all about
Good times.
good friends.
Really good eats.
You ready to
I
plow
want
into
to eat.
that plate?
Where's that plate? Let's eat.
See you next week on Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen.
To order a cookbook, email timfarmerck@gmail.com.